Hey guys, not this again. Not this again. I'm gonna bail on this video. Start over. This is not this again, right? Thank you, YouTube. I'll do another one. Oh, here it comes. Okay, there we go. Hey guys. Good. All right. So someone sent me a link to Homedy. Jennifer Homedy. Jennifer Homedy. Your YouTube is not. Ah, shit. What's going on here? Um, Give me a second, guys. I'm gonna relocate as I'm talking to you. Grab my pen here and my pad. Relocating. You can hear me. It should come in better. You can get it closer to my. I'm on wireless right now. Yep. See if this changed it. Should change it. What do you mean not enough? Got friggin'. Letting your error, YouTube, more info. Come on. You guys seeing it? Joseph, what's up? Joseph, can you see our... I'm going to start counting. Let me see. 1, 2... Oh, no, I can see nothing's going on there. Wait a minute. Let me count the delay here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Really? YouTube, more info. Checking. I don't know why this is up. It looks like it's good to go. You guys, you can hear me over there pretty good, can't you? I gotta wait for the delay to end out. Let me check right here. Yes, good. All right, I guess we'll just ignore this then. All right. Okay, I'll ignore the warning. Okay, and I'll just start. Plug up the laptop. All right. I'll come over and check. I don't know how to do this. Wait a minute, I can pull this down maybe, and I can shrink this over a little bit. Hopefully, it will show you comments so I can keep track of them. They're at the bottom. And move over. Wow, that didn't work, did it? It doesn't rescale. They're normally it will rescale. That is just perfect. So I'll just have to work it in the background a little bit with you guys, back and forth. Let me do that. And I will push down. Is that okay? Okay, rescales if I push down. All right. So then there we go. Let's get it on. Let's get it on. All right. Did you? All right. So Jennifer Homedy is the one front lady for this Ntsb stuff here. Now you know I'm biased against the Ntsb, so keep that in mind as your own data. So don't let me corrupt you. If you think I'm wrong, then call me out on it in your mind. Call me out on YouTube there. For example, I'm going to have to retract something in this. You know I'm always willing to change, but nothing soon. What's important is someone sent me an email with her background, her application basically, for going into the Ntsb. And she's a board member there. And 2018 is when she became a board member of, let's go over here, August 2018. Her background is dealing, specifically she's a Democratic staff director of the subcommittee on railroads. So they specifically talk about her political status or her Democratic staff. And so it appears just to be an appointed job to her, because wait till you see her background. I mean, her background is just amazing. Here over here, she dealt with, and I'm being facetious. Let's read it here. She was a Democratic staff director of the subcommittee on railroads. So you know, a lot of assistants get called the staff director. Pipelines and, like vice presidents, they give that shit away sometimes. Pipelines and hazardous materials, which is under the jurisdiction of the Committee on Transportation. So they tie it in that way. That that's under the jurisdiction of the transportation. That's why she's should be related to the NTSB somehow. And infrastructure, the U.S. House of Representatives. Well, so it came from the House of Representatives, her connection. Small W, and I'm terrible with grammar myself, but really, small W, where she was extensively involved in the legislative process. So they just hired her on because of her legislative process and led the committee's oversight investigation into the pipeline, the in Marshall, Michigan, and the Department of Transportation's Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. All right, so she was up there doing something for some Democrat with that, and that's her connection now to get this job on the NTSB as a board member, mind you, not the low starting low. She starts up as a board member. You remember the FIU bridge collapse? She was the lady to the right as we faced the TV set. She was the one to the far right who asked one or two questions, and I said, "What? She didn't follow up. She let it drop the ball." Now I know why. She doesn't know shit about this stuff. Wait till you see. Wait till you see her lovely background. I mean, I'm not shitting you. It's one sentence long, and it's dealing with some civic association back home. Most recently, I'm not shitting you. Most recently, she led a multi-module review of the Department of Transportation's drug and alcohol test program, identifying several safety gaps in the program. What is a safety gap? That means you go to take your piss test, and they can't observe you do it, or they just say you bring it in. They bring it in by mail. I mean, come on. The quote. This is the head of the NTSB, Robert Sumwalt's going to say this one quote. The NTSB welcomes the wealth of experience Member Hamidi brings from her extensive legislative. That's what they want. I told you, NTSB does all they care about is lobbying and all that shit like that. Hazardous material safety and transportation experience. That's why when she made that presentation, slandering the flyer by saying, "Oh, we need the crash avoidance system." This is what the agenda popped right up. Because that's what she's all about. She's a snake in the grass. She's not about the real deal. She's not the real deal. She's not a real investigator, in my opinion, because one thing, they're going to talk about she's going to mention how she just got off the field up there by the crash site. Her experience shows nothing about investigation. You don't allow anyone that's not, remember I did a video on that? I don't know if it was live or not, but I said, they're contaminating the site. They got all these people up there. You're supposed to be lining it, putting strings out, lining it off, mapping it, like an archive, like an archaeological dig, basically. But they're like, get it off there, run away. We've already made our decision. We're going with the TAWs would have saved them. But wait till you see the rest of the video where I go back to this link that I grab more data out of, where it talks about he would have possibly missed another 20 feet higher and he'd have been good to go. Oops, my notes. Hold on, guys. What the hell do I do with those notes? Okay, good. I need to turn on a light to make sure I don't skip my notes here. And let me look at the comments, because I'm messing up, right? Comments. Okay, cool. Are we still good? I guess I can check that over here. Another 20. Yep, we're good. Live stream. Come on, George. Give me a break. That's my cat. Give me a break, George. I'm trying to work on something here, buddy. Okay. Prior to joining the House Subcommittee on Railroads, Pipelines, and Hazardous Materials in 2004, Hamidi held positions with the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. How amazing, right? They give that international, you can join this for you. So many jobs allow Teamsters, which includes making beds. The Transportation Trades Department of the the Transportation Trades Department of the AFL-CIO. I don't know. Did a taxi cab driver for a minute? The American Iron and Steel Institute, which hires, lets anybody join, and the National Federation of Independent Business. This is just telling who she's partnered with. I mean, at one point had to take a membership with or took a membership with. That doesn't mean her skill set. I mean, come on. That means all iron workers that are awesome because they joined the Iron Workers Union. I mean, really? And of course, it's not just ironworkers joining the ironworkers unions. If you guys don't know that, they got some weird other trades that are part of the ironworkers unions and et cetera. How many is a graduate of the Pennsylvania State University and certified by the, you guys caught that, of the Pennsylvania State University and certified by the National Board of Fire Service Professional Qualifications on Core Hazmat Operations? Yeah, but it's certified by what the hell? Hazmat. So which level is that? I don't even know what level that is. But what does it matter? You get this shit at many jobs. You get certification because you're going to go out into the field and be there or work with something. Firemen get this shit, etc. This is nothing. This doesn't make you a board. Shouldn't be a board member on the NTSB. And so here's the nastiness of the NTSB. They do the investigation of, say, the FIU bridge collapse, and then they do a public investigation. And in that public investigation, they then ask questions. Who's asking the questions? The board members. So you have an investigation that will only be questioned, rigged up questions by people like her will ask their own staff members questions in front of us instead of the public asking questions. And then they go, good, we're solid. We should rubber stamp it. And this is what pisses me off about a lot of engineers who put so much faith in the NTSB. Really, it's like me making a report, and then in front of me, I say, I'm going to have a public meeting now. And it's going to be a public meeting, and then I have one of my workers in front of me ask me questions. I answer his questions, and I go, closed, and this is the determining factor. And you can't ask me one question. You can't ask me one. Not one question can you ask me. That is freaking crazy. They don't even open it up to the public for public questions before the final decision. And mission-specific PPE. This is protection shit, right? And product control. What the hell is product control? I'm going to leave that alone. So here we go. Former position outside government. BAFA Academy Association. BAFA Academy Association. It's fair game here. Formerly compensated employees of the sort went to work with these agencies. National Transportation Board. It was a round circle fuck, wasn't it? It's a circle jerk. She puts it up there. It links back to the same thing running back there, Jennifer. It goes nowhere. You just joined into the Columbia Journalism Investigations. This Trump Town, it brings it up under that link. Isn't that interesting that they link it that way? Okay, moving on here. Board member uncompensated D. I was on and off the association a few times between January 10th and so 6 years. This is her job. Her job is number 1, River Meadows Community Association. From 2010 to 2016, on and off again in Fredericksburg. I don't know what the hell, isn't that crazy in here? BAFA Academy Association. From July 2017 until she gets this job in 2018, dealing with such extreme things as the FIU bridge collapse and now this helicopter crash. And now you have that background data. Now I want you to watch the interview again, and now you see why her lights are out. She has no fucking clue. That's why her lights are out. It's nothing better than a self-evaluation of yourself, like the State of the Union. Yeah. Hate the NTSB. Well, okay. It could have been a good deal, the NTSB. Let's go back. Let me look at my notes now. We're gonna pump on a couple of things here. First, I guess, identifying. And she doesn't even know the staff members. Here we go. Come on back here.
The time from the
okay, listen to this.
Descent to impact was probably about a minute.
Fuck me. Hold on. I'm back that up. She's going to say the time for impact is about a minute. Let's listen to this. This is very important.
Absent a declaration from a pilot saying, I can't see, what evidence do you look at after the fact to make that determination?
Well, I mean, we're going to look. What evidence do we look at to help make the determination of whether he should have been flying in this kind of weather? Well,
he's flying in this kind of weather, and she's pumping her hand like that? Well, you haven't determined what weather he's flying in yet.
We are going to look at the weather conditions. We're going to talk to air traffic control. We're going to talk to the company, and we're going to look at records. So
Here it comes. A minute. Watch this minute thing.
Time that elapsed between like when the descent started and the impact, like was
Here's a shocker for you.
seconds or
from the descent,
from when the steep descent began?
the time from the descent to impact was probably about a minute. Mm-hmm.
About a minute. Time from descent to impact is about a minute. Hey guys, you remember I just did that video saying this guy said it was like 3 minutes. The other guy says 3 to 5 miles an hour hovering over him. It's reported on the one site there he was doing 150 miles an hour when he last bleeped in. This is so confusing to me. So he last bleeps in at 150 miles an hour across the road by the church there at 152 miles an hour. But she states time to impact about a minute from the other side of the road. We got 152 miles an hour. Where are we here? 152. Let me do this. Do that. We got 152 miles per hour. Okay, where'd you go? Here we go. It's behind this. 152 miles an hour. If I put that 2 in there, that's 222 feet per second. Let's call it 223 feet per second. She said about a minute. Let me change this. So I got to clear it. 223. My brain. Times 60. 1 minute. He's traveled 13,380 feet, right? Divided by 552.80, which is a mile. 2.53 miles, she's saying. What's up with this lady? I mean, we got one descent going down. We got this other one. The math doesn't make out. He didn't go 2.353 miles from the descent, did he? Or did he? I'm asking, did he? You know, we have him at this point. It would be over here. She said about a minute. So remember, he was climbing, as I show in the other video. That puts him on the other side of the road when he was. She said no. She asked from the descent. So when he reached his maximum speed elevation of 2,300, it then took him 1 minute to get over to there. Obviously, there was a lot of shit going on, but then she's screwing it up by saying that he's a rapid rate of descent, and we don't know why he couldn't pull out and all that other stuff. Now you know what the data is that we're getting. The source sucks. She's a pipeline lady, and she's just bluffing it. She's winging this shit right in the public's eye. So that 2,000 foot and can he pull up and all that, she doesn't have a fucking clue. She's a Democratic person that got disappointed because she got appointed by, whatever reasons. The shit the way they appoint people. But there's the data to be gained from her is still there because she's dumb enough to say this stuff like that. So you use the data anyway.
Is Jennifer Homendy, and I'm a board member with the National Transportation Safety.
Okay, so we got that. She identified.
With me today is member Tom Chapman, also with the NTSB, and our NTSB investigator in charge, Bill English.
Can get them backwards.
Oh, wrong side.
So she looks at her notes, obviously, and realized they're wrong. Her notes must tell her who's on whose side. And that's what she did. And it's just like, she thinks it's a game. So we get smiles all the way around. Great, awesome, priceless, right? Serious event. Now we get the nice make a joke.
Bill is here. Member Chapman is here.
So it appears that these are the ones that really they should be doing an investigation, but nevertheless, they allowed her on the scene, so they're not qualified to be doing an investigation, period. You can't gather evidence if you allow just non-evidence gathering people on the fucking scene.
I wanted to give you an update of what we accomplished today. I spent most of the day on the accident site. A lot of our investigators were...
She just said most of the day on the accident site. Not observing the accident site, on it. What do you need her polluting the damn crime scene for, the scene for? Whatever.
We're on scene continuing to examine and document the wreckage. We also looked for the significant components like actuators and gearboxes to make sure that they all arrived with the helicopter on scene, and we were able to verify that. We also mentioned yesterday
It's not me.
that the pilot had an iPad with ForeFlight on it, so we were looking for electronic devices as we always do. We were able to recover an iPad and a cell phone. We do not know.
I don't. It's already buffered here, so this is already obviously stacked up by the internet doing it. Not me. It's already buffered out, so we should be getting clean. So this obviously came from the original source, maybe. The problems.
If that's the pilot's iPad, so we're going to take those personal electronic devices. We're going to send them back to our lab at headquarters for further analysis.
That also explains headquarters. I was like, what the hell is she talking, taking back to headquarters? Just Batman or some other childish stuff? Back to headquarters. What the hell?
We also located maintenance records in the wreckage. We can't discuss, we're not going to discuss the maintenance records because we haven't looked at those. We found them, we documented them.
So in these scenes, they send out a board member to run point to talk to the public, right? And then these people are the investigators. But here she is running point, and she's got no skill set. And I'm going to jump forward in this. Now you know identified who she is. Let's jump forward to a couple of points. Let me move over and see if it's loading. Okay, I got to press play.
Recovery operations occurred on scene today. A recovery crew was loading the wreckage in large white tarp bags, which were airlifted by helicopter from the scene and loaded on a truck and will be moved to a secure location.
So you can't even say loaded on a truck. None of this. She's the Ntsb and she has no idea what a track is or a truck. Come on, guys. You know, this is just amateur hour. Let's just jump up to showing you her stumbles now and how the guy has to step in because she can't answer questions. Now it explains why she did that crazy huffing and puffing because it's not dealing with her community service center or whatever the hell she got a job from there. She's just playing with people asking real questions. Here we go.
By 2019, the pilot had 8,200 hours of flight time. Obviously, that was July, so the pilot has more flight time because it's been some time since then.
That's the way she presents.
Out of that, the pilot had 1,250 hours of flight time on the S-76 helicopter. So 1,250 hours on the helicopter. So that's a good amount of experience.
So I got to take back. When I talked about that, I said the Ntsb stated that. Heck, consider the source. She's stating that. I hope someone else gave her the data because, hell, how can she be qualifying whether that's good or not? She has not a clue. No pilot's license or anything as far as we know. Anyway, and she's investigating a helicopter incident at this point. She's investigating. She was on the damn scene, inside the damn crime, the evidence field.
He's also been with the company for 10 years. We do know that the day before the accident,
Let me fast forward.
he flew from John Wayne Airport to Camarillo, and the weather was clear. It was a different flight path, more direct, and occurred about an hour later than the one on Sunday.
I'm going to jump forward. I need to go to 1300 on this, 13 minutes. And
more passenger seats to be equipped with a terrain awareness and warning system. They did not implement the recommendation.
See how her agenda, remember they hired her because of her legislative power? She states that. Now, if we go all the way up here at 2100, the other guy says, man, that shit probably wouldn't have saved Jack off. Watch this. He's going to come forward and say opposite to what she said. But we didn't get that with the news release. It's only in this longer release right here that's shared. So the news release let it ride there. Here's the longer version of it, where the other guy comes forward and says the terrain. No, I don't think that shit would have made a difference. Basically, here we go. Let's do. Is it a 13? Let's see if I'm at 2120. Right around 21. Yeah, Tawes. He's going to say 21. Let's see if he steps forward.
Over a number of years, so.
The question is, at what point would Tawes have alerted the pilot? There's many variables here, and we don't even have a conclusion that Tawes and this scenario are related to each other. So that's a lot of speculation in that question. So
there we go. Told you. A lot of speculation. Just junk to say Tawes. But yet people just going crazy on the internet talking about Tawes. And their investigator, the real investigator here is saying, is you saw him swipe his hand sideways saying, you know what? This is my opinion of that. Let's run it again. That Tawes is just bullshit. Here we go.
The pilot, there's many variables here, and we don't even have a conclusion that Tawes and this scenario are related to each other. So that's a lot of speculation in that question. So that really can't be answered.
So it can't be answered. He's stating that Tawes is just an academic, crazy-ass statement, but she put it in here. That's why they hired her. I told you they do that lobbying crap, right? So they hired her to be front here, and the whole agenda, as I stated before, I'm just showing, is the Tawes thing. But this guy's not part of the agenda, and he says, look, you see him shake his hands like that. That shit's not the scenario. We're not even there. And yet she's coming forward talking about Tawes and the two other crashes, and she lies about the location. Now we know why she can lie about the location, because she's a goddamn Democrat who, sorry guys for you Democrats out there.
In that time. For investigative updates, please.
That she lied about the agenda here. She's lying to the public, deceiving them.
Are not leaving the scene. Our investigators still have work.
Shut up. Let me go back.
Sea helicopter, which crashed in the Baltic Sea, killing 12.
And I showed you that the lie about the Galveston, Texas. It didn't crash in Galveston, Texas. That also crashed in the sea. But
that stated,
watch this.
Require all existing and new U.S. registered turbine-powered rotorcraft certificated for 6 or more passenger seats to be equipped with a terrain awareness and warning system.
That's right after she said, so they have no idea what's caused this issue, and she's bringing up her agenda about that. I told you because they lobbied. People lobbied the Ntsb. And so here it is, the Tawes agenda right there. And she's the one, but her own man down here said, that shit's just bogus bullshit. I'm not, you show him shake his hand that he's not going for that answer about Tawes. So now let's jump on to 13 minutes. 13 minutes. But now you'll understand why she looks and bumbles and asks for somebody else's help. She doesn't know shit about helicopters. Here we go. She's the agenda person, the lobbying person. There we go.
Report in 10 days that will contain factual information. We'll have a final report in 12 to 18 months, and again, we could issue urgent safety recommendations in that time. For investigative updates, please monitor our Twitter feed.
Let's let that buffer out. I'm going to close down a couple of these tabs. I'm going to close down this one where she's the, that's just amazing for me. This is her career. River Metals Community Association. This is where she came from for 6 years, on and off. She couldn't even do that straight, on and off. And then this BAFA Academy Association that bounces back. That's crazy. It bounces back over here to ProPublica, Columbia, and it just goes nowhere. It goes nowhere. And that's off of the site. Coming over here under this. Former positions outside government. See financial disclosure. I already looked at that. It's nothing there. Nothing to be really gone there. Let me close down these tabs here. 1, 2, and 3. And go back to this, buffered out.
At NTSB_newsroom. And of course, feel free to contact us if you have additional questions. I'm going to take some questions.
There we go.
And please raise your hand, state your name and your affiliation. Thank you.
Please raise your hand.
Hi, Nick Rock, CNN. You mentioned the 135 charter.
Correct.
As I understand it, Island Express was certified just as an IFR. Is that correct? Sorry.
He's asking about IFR, VFR, and things like that with the helicopter. And her eyes are just glazing over now because she has barely a way to answer this question. Just seeing if you guys are still there. She has barely a way to answer this question. And here we go.
VFR, was that correct? And would that mean that the instrumentation on that aircraft was not maintained up to the IFR standard?
Look, the lights are out on her. She's just calm, or she's just lights her out. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to throw this question. I'm going to throw it right over to my man over here. He can answer questions about this. I answer questions about school grounds and stuff like that.
You want to take that?
You want to get that. He should have said, no, I don't want to get it. You finish it.
So, yes, you're correct. They have a Part 135 VFR certificate as to how the instruments were maintained and if they were kept to IFR standards. That's something we'll be looking into in the maintenance records. We haven't got that far yet.
Is the fact that they were classified that way, is that part of the investigation?
Yes, sir.
Jennifer, TMZ, how far from the top of the...
Look at her look back there like, oh my gosh, I can't believe these people asking questions. Her attitude is childish. She should not be out here in the front. She should do whatever they want her to do, the scamming they do, that damn lobbying they do. Here's some more. There's going to be 5 more after this.
How much did they miss doing the mountain climb?
She'll repeat it a bit, so you'll hear it. Bear with it.
I don't have information on the passenger manifest for Saturday, but the crash site was 1,085 feet.
Here we go. For us, all those guys trying to figure it out, 1,085 feet. That's the elevation. Elevation, 1,085 feet. You got that over there? Hey, Joseph. Anyway, 1,085 feet. It's now been revealed. Keep in mind, he's going to say that about another 20 feet, he would have cleared that one hill and maybe could have landed on that one hill. There's multiple other hills around. This guy's going to make that clear. Same conversation I would have had with you. He already states it in this, where he's going to say, look, but we're not saying he would have even hit those other hills at that point either. This guy back here is going to be very logical. The narrative bullshit is coming out of this thing's mouth right here.
There were other hills in the area, but the impact area is at 1,085 feet. How much did they clear missing the mountain by? I mean, do we know?
Oh, yeah, 20 feet, 30 feet.
Maybe 20, 30 feet.
There we go. So, I'm not buffering this. I'm talking to you now. That's in the YouTube thing with this channel when they loaded it. So, 20, 30 feet. Call it 30 feet. I did a video earlier today. Someone showed me that, and I don't know if my brain just recalled this video. But nevertheless, there's 20, 30 feet to make it up to that little skip up there. And who knows, he still might have tagged out, though. Here we go. But I have, that the limbs being cut up or severed. I've got an issue with that. I told you that in the other video earlier today. How did they manage that? How did they manage that? Did they fall out the helicopter? This thing still had to settle, rock to the side. In that time, it did a couple of chopping. Put a couple of people in the chopping block, literally. Not figuratively, I mean. Here we go.
Over here.
They're the good questions. We didn't put on CNN and all that. I don't know about this question yet. I'm looking at my notes. I don't see I made note of it. We're going to take this out to about 22 minutes. So you see the bottom count down there? I'm going to jump
The question was on the weather information. And the question is specific to information we requested from the public, photos and videos that were sent in to witness at ntsb.gov, and whether we've been able to analyze any of those. We are in the process of looking through all the photos and videos. I will state a big thank you to the public. Every time we ask for information, you send it in, and it's very helpful to our investigation. With that said, we have received video and photos that are not of this helicopter or even in this country. So
yeah, well, you did a helicopter complaint about what it was in another country also. When she said that United Emirates flight that they came to help. Well, that was in another country also. So don't hate.
I will state that takes our investigators time to verify that, and that takes away from the investigative work that they need to do. So while I do appreciate a lot of what we received, and a majority of what we received is fantastic, but in other areas it does waste our investigators' time.
Oh, poor girl. Shut the F up and keep going.
You mentioned that Taz was not on board this chopper.
Taz now.
The chopper had some sort of a derivative of Taz, or some poor man's Taz.
It's very important. He said, does this chopper have some derivative of Taz? Derivative. And they're going to switch over to GPS conversation. But in reality, it would be the landing gear up indicator. And it's a landing gear up, meaning you're getting too close to the ground. The one that she mentioned about that, and I did a video on that, guys, you remember? The one that she says crashed in Galveston, Texas. It did not. It crashed 70 miles, nautical miles in the damn ocean, if you will. So in the sea. So that's nothing like crashing on land. They had a derivative, this guy just mentions, that you set. And say you set it for 600 feet. As you're approaching the surface, and it doesn't care what surface, water or soil, or whatever, rock, you call it. As your person approaching the surface, you meet that threshold they set it at, 600 feet, 1,500 feet, whatever they set it at. It says sends a gear warning out. Gear warning, a gear warning, lights flash. It's a hard siren inside the alarm. I told you about that. We looked it up. It's in their report that they did. That's how I found out about that helicopter. So if she referenced that helicopter, she should be saying, well, no, they might have had the gear landing down thing going on. Nobody's asked about the gear landing. But they're going to switch it over to GPS, which I talked about. But here we go.
They have linked GPS into some sort of a terrain avoidance system.
So she turns to him because she doesn't know about any other derivatives. So I'm showing she doesn't know about any other derivatives. So that report she came forward about those two other flights that crashed, it's just part of her nasty research that she doesn't do any other research. So the agenda shows clearly because she couldn't even answer this question. So here we go. Yet she's on this job site, on that site all day, she says. That means she's here with him, and she doesn't even know what the data is being gathered. He's going to respond. So normally they call this mansplaining, right? So normally you call this mansplaining if you had to explain over a woman. Women get upset about this. Not this time. She's turning left and right for the man to explain. Sidetrack story, but I had to say that.
Type of GPS-based terrain avoidance system. Again, as mentioned, we're going to be going through all the equipage that's on the aircraft so that we can understand that. That'll be part of developing the sequence. Right now, that doesn't look to be part of the scenario that we're looking at. But
whoa, follow that. It doesn't seem to be part of the scenario we're looking at. The alternate means. It shows right there they're exposing what their investigative does have an edge towards it already, a direction. Not in a positive way. It means you're not open for the data. Because he's saying, as the reporter states, wait a minute, is there an option here? And he's now stating that's not one of our scenarios. So they already made up their scenario. They're here or whatever. Let's back it up. What he states it, not me. And I'm just giving it a little clarity of what he's stating. Not one of the scenarios they're looking at. Yet he doesn't even know if it exists on a helicopter, but it's not one of them.
Through all the equipage that's on the aircraft so that we can understand that. That'll be part of developing the sequence. Right now, that doesn't look to be part of the scenario that we're looking at, but we'll definitely be documenting all of the equipment that's on board.
So there you go. Not one of the scenarios. I'm trying to look at every damn scenario there is. With it, without it, clouds, high fog, a bird strike, another helicopter coming at him. I'm trying to look at everything there is, including, heart attack, even that nutso stuff saying somebody tried to kill him. Even look at that data because it's part of the shit you got to look at, right? You just can't say, I just find that to be crazy. No, you go look at the damn data anyway. Yeah, I follow that too. I look at everything when I'm doing one of these analysis. And here we go.
Board, certified or not.
Next point is going to be at 14 minutes, 14:10 in minutes. See, we're at 13:07.
Well, we'll have to see what's on the iPad. We don't know right now. That's part of any investigation. I'm sorry. Let me repeat the question. And the question is, what sort of information do we hope to glean from the iPad? There could be a lot of information on the iPad with respect to terrain, weather briefings that the pilot may have gotten, notice to airmen, flight path information. We'll have to look at all of that, but I'm not sure we have any of that yet. So that's something we have to analyze, and we've sent that information back, or the electronics back to our lab.
Now it's back to the lab. Before it was back to the hideout. But she's going to hand off again. She's going to hand off again. Very important. He's asking, do you sense that the helicopter went down all in one piece? Or, and then here's the or part, or it broke up, right? Or it hit.
Perhaps broke up as it was coming down. And I'm going to ask a second question while I've got you. It was in a steep dive, basically. Steep.
Yeah.
Steep. Was that recoverable?
So now we know why she can't answer that. He went into a dive. Was that recoverable? And she's going to do this lie bullshit. We know that she's not smart enough to know if it was recoverable or not. And here it is. She's presenting it to the public that we're not sure. It makes it look like she's so intelligent. And the public thinks that we're getting it from an expert now that says this is still going to take some evaluation. In reality, it's somebody that knows jack shit about the logistics or the I want to say the science and the math behind this whole recovery question that he's asking. And so she's going to play it. She's going to wing this shit. This is some crazy ass shit. And yet the public then interprets that the Ntsb said, no, this is going to take some real science. And now I know why that I was so triggered by her, because with this 2,000 feet, which is really 22.7 feet per second, I did a video on it. Because this idiot made this presentation like that, and I didn't know it was from an idiot. I thought it was a fake narrative. In reality, it's a fake narrative because they want TAWS, and they got an idiot running the show. And looking at him and winging. Here's a wing.
The question is, did we locate all the significant...
She looked back for her mansplainer to help her out. He didn't step forward. So then she had to turn back. And now you're looking at a mind, tick, 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 tick. You're looking at a mind work now. And it's going to come with some BS.
Yes, so that would seem that indicates to us, preliminary information is that the helicopter was in one piece when it impacted the terrain. The second question is, was the helicopter crash survivable?
No.
Was the dive recoverable? I mean, that we're going to have to look at as part of the accident investigation. That requires further analysis.
Because now we know that she doesn't know. She has no clue whether you can be going 27 miles an hour downward and pull up. Well, the answer would kind of be simple. If the craft was okay, and she's already determined the speed and rate, come on. It was under its operating control. It's only moving 27 miles per hour downwards, and it's only going 150 miles an hour, reportedly last time, horizontal. Of course, a helicopter can go down 27 miles an hour and come back. It needs some range to do that. So if the mountain's in the way, the hill's in the way, therein lies the problem. But that's as simple as that. Come on.
If we just follow up on that, you mentioned the 2,000 feet per minute descent rate. Is that within the normal operating range for that helicopter?
So she mentioned the 2,000 feet descent rate. Is that the normal operating range for this helicopter, they asked. And now here's that BS one that was so triggered by. And she's going to be like, well, that's pretty critical. Now we know that we're really getting it from an idiot that belongs to nursing school, taking care of children at home. The nursing school, whatever you call that, daycare. Not dealing with adults. Here we go.
Or is that considered an out-of-control situation?
Yeah, I'm a chauvinist.
Is that a normal descent range for this Sikorsky? I mean, this is a pretty steep descent at high speed, so it wouldn't be a normal landing speed.
Is that beyond the realm of the helicopter to handle, to flight?
She said at high speed. Remember, she said at high speed. I don't have it at high speed. She said in the first part of this video, I showed you where she said it took a minute to go that far over there. How is that high speed? How is that high speed to take a minute to get to there? The guy up the pathway, we're only talking, it's 1 mile. They said it took she said a minute. We got 2.5, what do we have here? Where's the calculator over here? 2.5 miles, 2.53 miles. That's what she said, about a minute when he was last showed up at 2,300 to wind up where he is. Remember, he's also going down at 27.7 miles per hour in a downward also. The hillside is at 1085. As my man John points out, you got to deduct that from his ceiling. He's only dropping, well, I'm just helping John out, the someone will love. The 1085, let's call it 1100, let's call that 2300. They're only closing 1,200 feet of distance this direction, and on this direction, it's a little bit longer to go diagonal than just to go across 1,200. So I'm trying to extrapolate 2,300 to 1035. I got enough data now to come up with a speed also based on a minute, and I'll evaluate that in another video. So, but if you guys want to beat me to it, here you just do here's 1085, here's 2,300. This is the 90 degree here, right? And then to get to this, you've got 1 minute to get there. 1 minute to get over to this 1085 from 2,300. I can then determine, she said about a minute though. I can evaluate whether the minute's true or not. That's going to take me a little bit of math, and I can do that. Now, maybe I'll come back and do it later, tomorrow or next day. It all depends on what I can break for.
That's something we're going to have. Can the helicopter handle this? And that's something we're going to have to evaluate as part of the investigation. Steve.
1540 is important. Is another one I have here. So his question is important. Here we go.
I mean, how do we determine pilot judgment? That's a difficult part of the investigation, and we look at the facts in the investigation, and that.
Keep looking back for this guy for support.
That's what we're focused on. We can't make any assumptions about what somebody is thinking.
So you can't make any assumptions, but you made the assumptions that he needed ground radar to protect him, TAWS. So this is my point there. That shows the conflict in her own statements. She said earlier that TAWS, right? Times 2 examples. Now all of a sudden she says you can't make any assumptions. So you see the bullshit? I find this, I find these type of people I just wash them out of my life. I tell them, the way I curse guys, I tell them to fuck off and let it ride. Here we go. Let's move on.
So our investigation is strictly focused on the facts, and then those facts will lead
it's not true because you don't have the facts yet that TAWS about the TAWS thing, and she put the narrative out there. That's my point. This is their lobbyist person stepping forward here, and she has no idea how to continue the rest of her scam. And here's all the dropping your ball and the conflicts that I'm finding. Next one's going to be at 1710.
Analysis. I'll come back to that. Stephanie.
So she blew him off. She's not going to come back to him. She blew that guy off. I didn't quite get his question. Threw it in the trash can. I'll come back to that. Stephanie's at somebody's at 1710's got a good question. This might lead into it right here. Yeah, this would have to lead into it, wouldn't it?
Oh, the question is, what did we learn from the drone from?
Okay, yeah, it's not me buffering. It's this. See all the big buffer here? So look, the drone. So they're going to talk about the drone. First off, they're going to take the drone. She said the drone, we flew a flight path of with the drone. It turns out that's a lie. She's going to state how she's going to, remember, a lie and the truth can't exist. So she's going to state how that's why she told the lie, the truth over there, which counters the beginning one. So the lie was the first one. In this case, we flew the flight path where the drone was released. The lie is going to come out because she's going to add the truth behind it. Well, people the workers were there. I guess the other Ntsb workers and whoever else she had there. So then they're going to have to extrapolate because they didn't tell the workers stand aside while we run the drone through the real flight path. And here it is. So that data is corrupt.
The flight path information that we put in the drone today. I mean, we were looking at the flight path. So the angle it took coming in, we didn't fly it low because that would be a problem, and there were people working.
Because that would be a problem, and there were people? Why would it be a problem? So that means that drone, the stuff they're getting is corrupt data. It's no good. So this is the shit that the Ntsb is supposed to be investigating, and they don't have the investigative skills. They do not have the investigative skills. I don't know how they're getting away with this in the public, and nobody's questioning them. No engineers are questioning them. That NIST is also a government agency, right? They're the ones that would speak up. But most engineers are scared that they're going to get discredited. You know, you're ballless fucks. Anyway, you call out what you see as true data. But most engineers really aren't that bright. They're just, I know I got engineers following you, but just, number crunchers. Not with the ability to have the logical and extrapolation thinking. Otherwise, we wouldn't get so many damn collapses, right? But the ones that do get the collapses, those are good marketing guys. They get the job. I mean, they got the job, and the collapse happened. How's that for an inside tip?
Working in that area, so we just wanted to look at part of the flight path, and we want to document the wreckage with it. You had a second question? On the 20 to 30 feet that I just mentioned.
Here we go.
The question is on the 20 to 30 feet. Somebody just asked where the impact site was. It was 1,085 feet up, and he asked what the height of the hill was, and it was about 20, 30 feet above that. I mean, what?
Yeah, so the question was how much did the helicopter miss the hill? It's important to realize that there's not one hill. It's a ravine with undulating terrain. So the small outcropping that had the main impact in it, the main impact was about 20 to 30 feet from the top of that small hill, but there are actually other higher hills surrounding it, if that makes sense to you. It's in this canyon with small hills within it. There's other hills right close by, correct?
Well, yes. I don't know that we can say it probably would have hit another hill either. I mean, that's an assumption, so we can't.
So even she says it, it might not have hit the other hill, the distance of it. Remember, I kept finding a topography of this place, and I just loaded up one today, another good map for you guys on the bikers one. And yeah, it looks like you make that one. You got a little bumpy ride, maybe something else, but let's go for it. And they said 20 or 30 feet. So At what she stated, he was dropping at 20th at 2,000 feet per second, right? So feet per feet per second, miles per hour to feet per second. That's what it is. Right. So when I pull this up for you guys, you're not going to like it, right? So she says the descent rate was 2,000 feet per second. And miles per hour and foot per second. Right. Miles per hour to foot per second to 2,000 feet per second. Yeah, I got it backwards. She said it was dropping at 2,000 feet per. Yeah. Damn it. It's opposite. 2,000 feet per minute. Right. My fault. Right. 2,000 miles miles per hour converted to feet per minute. Let's do that one. So she said it was 2,000 feet per minute descent rate, and it should be feet per foot per second. 2,000. What? Did it just pull up the same one again? 2,000 mile. What? It's feet per second. Feet. God damn it. Feet per minute to miles per hour. Give me the right one this time. Foot per minute to miles per hour. She had 2,000 feet per minute. There's miles per hour. Miles per hour. It was dropping at 22.7272. That was the speed of it. And I'll show you if we calculate over here. Basically, need 1 second, 2 seconds. Would have put him on top of the. That shelf she just mentioned. But apparently, hitting that shelf at whatever speed it is not also freebie either. You're going to hit it at whatever speed he's going still. But at least it's better than hitting a stop. Dead stop.
State that.
To a strike.
Hey.
Let me grab the next one. 1950 is the next hit on this one. This is right now we're at 1824.
The question is on the grounding of the LA Sheriff's
Oh, I like this.
helicopters.
This is very important. I guess I didn't have. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's right. It's 18. Oh no, the 18. Yeah, that's right. 1810. So this is another good one because the grounding sheriff's helicopters. She's actually going to say it's apples to oranges. So everybody's talking about the LA sheriff's out. She's actually going to say, obviously getting it from these guys, they're not the same. Here we go.
That morning, and it is an apples to oranges comparison. It's a different helicopter, different operations. They have 4-person helicopter. This is outfitted for more than that. So, we have to look at this specific crash and this specific.
So she based the apples to oranges to this one has 4 people on board, and this one has 9. So that's the difference, really. That's not the difference, right, guys? It doesn't matter the amount of people on board. It's not the difference. That's actually our search and rescue helicopter also, which would have the TAWs on it. So the search and rescue helicopters are mandated to have TAWs on them. So that's the apples to oranges, and they have a different criteria for flying, obviously. And obviously they didn't follow that criteria because they went up anyway to look over the fire and everything else. So talking about they're grounded, apparently they were not grounded. They still went up in the air. The pilot's choice still went up in the air. He could have still said, yeah, the thing's on fire. I'm not going up. But obviously that pilot chose to go up in the air. All the news crews pilot chose to go up in the air. All the news crews pilots got permission to be in that area. if they do their VFR or whatever they had flying on. Find out what they were flying under, the news crews. But he was flying under just regular VFR. Remember, I showed a video that he's no longer special, regular VFR. So it clearly should state that he's under VFR conditions. He can fly in that area. He's allowed to fly with the rules that he has to stick by. So bite me.
Specific helicopter, we can't compare that to others.
So not being an aviation expert, is there any way to safely fly this type of helicopter in thick fog?
Is there any way to safely fly this helicopter in thick fog? I mean, I think there's a lot of variabilities there. And so we're focused on what the weather conditions were for this.
So you see, she has no idea of the rules. She has none. She says a lot of variability there. He's under VFR, and she asked her, could he fly in the fog? And she said, well, I mean, there's a lot of variability there. Really? Can he fly in the fog? So now you guys are going to keep telling me, wait for the Ntsb report. And a couple of you are my regular followers. Yeah, I'm attacking you now. So what, right? You attack me too, so I'm going to give you a little punch in the face. I'm going to wait for the Ntsb report. Well, this is the lady that's going to be doing the questions. When the final thing is done and they do the public hearing, she's the one that sits up there and asks the questions about oh my God, you can't write this shit. The fox guard in the hen house. So, can you fly in fog with this helicopter? And she says, well, there's a lot of variability there. Well, we know that he didn't have instrument classification to do there with this helicopter. So the answer is just no. It's just no.
Four-person helicopter. This is outfitted for more than that. So, we have to look at this specific.
He didn't have instrument
crash, and this
do that.
Specific helicopter. We can't compare that to others.
But technically, he's not allowed to do that.
Is there any way
Here we go.
to safely fly this type of helicopter in thick fog?
Is there any way to safely fly this helicopter in thick fog? I mean, I think there's a lot of variabilities there. And so we're focused on what the weather conditions were for this on Sunday for this flight. And we have a weather expert on staff currently looking at the weather and decision making for flying in the weather that day.
Okay, we've got 1950 and then 2100, and then that's the end of the video. We're talking about the counts down here. BRIM.
Question is how common it is for a pilot to request to fly under special visual flight rules. It's very common. This is not out of the way.
But it's irrelevant, right? 100% irrelevant because he was no longer under special visual flight rules. So that's what she should be saying now, that it's irrelevant. Not that it's how special, how common it is. He was not flying under those rules. It was changed to VFR when he left that one lady's 1ATC traffic control lady.
Ordinary.
Why would he go up? Listen. Why would he go up to 2,000 some feet? He said.
And also, is there anything that they would have gotten that would have been comparable to a terrain warning, like an audible alarm?
Audible alarm, etc. He asked again about the audible alarm. Someone else does. And why did he go up?
The question is on the terrain warning. It didn't have a terrain warning and awareness system, so.
No, he said some type of audible alarm. He didn't say did he have TAWS, but she answered a different question. I find that friggin' disgusting. He didn't ask for TAWS. He said this is some type of audible alarm, which again, it would be the tires, the wheels down for the other equipment. I do not know if this one had wheels down on equipment. Remember, these wheels go up when they're flying, and when they're coming down, they put the wheels down. Imagine if you didn't have it. Helicopter pilot forgets to put the wheels down. Blam! He just cost quite a few thousands of dollars worth of damage, and maybe even crashed. Maybe it winds up in death. So they have the little, that little audible wheels down. You're close to the deck. Now you can turn that off, but you can only turn off the audible. but not the visual. Assuming this helicopter has it. Remember, this helicopter came from Louisiana. I gave that tip for you guys a long time ago. I thought somebody would have found out the specifications on the purchase, which you could find out from Illinois, right? Illinois, one of them. But you could find out when they purchased it the spec sheet on it and see what it has on it. That's going to be public data from that state. But nobody bit, and I'm not doing all of the research, right? I got to do some of it for you guys. You got to do the rest. Come on, do something. Do something for a brother.
No, it did not have that.
She said no for clarity. Then I have pause. You didn't say that.
What was your first question?
Why would the helicopter go up to 2,000 feet and then go down to 1,700?
She said, why would he go up to 2,000 feet and then down to what? Because we know he went to 223, she says.
He was trying to climb it. Go
Right,
ahead.
he
He was trying to climb out of the cloud layer at the time. So
That's what. So you see her. You couldn't answer the question. He was trying to climb out of it. He was trying to climb out of a cloud layer at the time. You're going to do no assumptions, she says. No assumptions. So therefore, we must know that that was part of the ATC's comment that I did a video on that she released there. I guess I'm just extrapolating here. Looked like she was trying to hand off the ball, and then she jumped back in with her answer. She turned away fast.
yes.
Talking about your recommendations there again, is your position that perhaps
This deals with speed. This is 21 minutes. Here we go.
place that this crash would not have happened?
No. The question is if our recommendations were implemented, would this crash not have happened? Well, certainly TAWS could have helped to provide information to.
You understand that? She said no. First in the beginning, she states why we need TAWS. Why you need TAWS. Now, at the end of the video, right here at 21 minutes, he asks, would this have stopped it? She makes her finger very clear saying no. But the damn fake news doesn't give us all this video. It's back here that they cut it short. TAWS, TAWS, TAWS. But then up here, she says no, it would not save it. But so the agenda for the Ntsb is actually, we just want the data in case it crashed. We'll know where it was in location to the terrain. So when it crashed, we'll be able to make our jobs easier. Listen to this shit.
The pilot on what terrain the pilot was flying in. But one of those recommendations on the helicopter having a CVR and an FDR, that would have helped us significantly in this investigation and other
Meaning after the damn death, the crash.
investigations. And it's something we've recommended several times over a number of years. So. Want to answer the
So
TAWS?
the question is, at what point would TAWS have alerted the pilot? There's many variables here, and we don't even have a conclusion that TAWS and this scenario are related to each other. So that's a lot of speculation in that question. So that really can't be answered.
Boom, done. Shit can.
Say whether or not the pilot was still in control of the helicopter when it started that.
Any idea whether the pilot was in control?
That it is too soon to state whether the helicopter was still in control, or the pilot was still in control of the helicopter at that point.
Is that consistent with controlled flight? What you've overseen?
Is what consistent?
Visual flight was now. He's asking about visual flight.
The bank, steep decline.
The bank, this turn is just.
Sound like controlled flight?
She doesn't know.
You want to answer that?
You want to answer that?
The question is, does the bank and descent sound like controlled flight? That would be asking us to draw a conclusion at this point, and until we put together all the information, we can't make that kind of conclusion.
Last question.
Last question.
Past investigations, whether lack of visibility was determined to be a primary cause. Absent a declaration from a pilot saying, I can't see, what evidence do you look at after the fact to make that determination?
Well, I mean, we're going to look. What evidence do we look at to help make the determination of whether he should have been flying in this kind of.
They're trying to do the narrative stuff. Let's blow that off. But this part right here again. Here we go. I want to cycle that for you one more time. It's going to be no.
Talking about your recommendations there at the end.
The TAWs have saved him. Watch.
Perhaps if those recommendations had been put in place, then this crash would not have happened.
No. The question is if our recommendations were implemented, would this crash not have happened? Well, certainly TAWs could have helped to provide information to the pilot on what terrain the pilot was flying in. But one of those recommendations on the helicopter having a CVR and an FDR, that would have helped us significantly in this investigation and other investigations. And it's something we've recommended.
Yes, so they can get the data from the crash. All right, guys, that's all they cared about. I'm laughing because, it's just a crazy shit show that we're getting scrapped over. What do you got here for me? Yeah, TAWS, TAWS, it's TAWS. Terrain awareness. Yeah, well, so you guys, who just came in, go back. There's some good stuff in here. It shows that she's just really a unqualified person. The qualified persons may or may not be there, but she's actually in charge of this whole deal, right? So she's the one that's going to be asking the questions. She was part of the FIU bridge collapse. She's the one that asked the questions. So they do a public hearing, and then who asks the public questions for us? Ntsb asks questions of their own pre-designed questions, right? Pre-designed questions of them. Look, and you look at her qualifications, you're going to be like, really? So now she's doing bridge failures and also helicopter failures, and you saw that she had her turn to this guy a million times, but she has not a clue. And it's a damn shame that no one's calling out the Ntsb for having cronies in here. I'm terminating video. I'm about as livid as I can be on that with that new status. Yeah, you got that about right. All right, so enjoy the content. This is 1 hour and 12 minutes. Oh, great, another long video. Sorry about the long video. Yep. I'm on the. Let me see. I gotta go. No, okay. And then the stream. Okay, how do you get out of this thing? He's a pilot, so he's not going to be arguing with the passengers. Besides, you don't see that cabin separate, Rob. There's no conversation taking place. I'm going to answer it anyway, your question, but because it is an option, right? Nope. He was asking permission. He's acting professional. Everything was sound and copacetic in his coconut, if you will, as we see early in the flight. He was communicating with the tower, telling him his intentions of going up to 2300 to avoid a cloud. So no, you don't. That's an option, Rob, but that's it's not founded by anything at all. But it's just an option. You thought, but it's canceled out with the significant data there. You have to have a reason to want to do something like that. Remember, I'm an amygdala person. The human can't just kill himself because he's mad at somebody else. That's a murder-suicide thing you're talking about. And Rob, that would be a different personality altogether, wouldn't it? So just so you know, if you have that type of thoughts, you need to consider yourself notified. Yeah, that's a different thought, Rob. It's murder suicide is a crazy mind at that point, a not stable mind at that point, and you don't get that on a snap. So take care, everybody.